amazing. And I think you just opened up the conversation because we're going to talk about inviting today. Because obviously, like, that was a beautiful national wake-up call. And I know many of you did say, this is my inviting process, so I appreciate you sharing what your inviting process is. But then also, many of you don't watch the national wake-up call until later, and I totally get it. So hopefully, and even actually, it made me think of you, Christy Silva. And welcome to the state of Florida. We miss you on the West Coast, but glad you're made it safe. But you even said, it's like, I have taught this exact approach. I tell my coaches what to do. Now, hopefully, it's like kind of a smack in the head. It's like, okay, she's also saying it. It probably works type thing. So I loved what you said about that. But we're going to talk all about inviting today. I want to call out Emily Lusana, where'd you go? I saw you. Oh, are you on my second page? Dang, we got a big group of people. I love this. Maybe I didn't see her. I swear I saw her. Sorry. Emily. Oh, I see you. Okay. Hi. Do you mind if I start with you? Just because your inviting process seems so specific, and especially where you're. Yeah, sorry. You can chew your. That's weird. Are you chewing your Shakeology? Do you have almonds in there?
I was just swallowing it, but I didn't know it was me. I was like, what?
Yep, you're my only Emily on here. Do you mind talking to us more about your inviting process? Because yours was so specific, but also so direct and to the point. So do you mind going over in depth a little bit more about that, if you don't mind?
Yeah, sure. So I just commented saying that I used to spend a lot of time building a relationship just because that's kind of how I was taught in the beginning, like get to know them, their dog's name, what they do, like all this stuff. And after a while, I just didn't feel like that works for some people, and that's great. I just knew I wanted to invite them. And I even had people like call me out and be like, did you just ask me all that so you could end up inviting me? And like, that never feels good. But it kind of got me thinking, and I was like, I am a straightforward, get to the point type of person. Like, I, of course, want to help them if they want help. Like, you know, you're just going to have those people, no matter what, who are super close-minded and don't want anything to do with Beachbody. And I was just like tired of kind of wasting my time with those people. And sometimes they come back around, you know, you follow up with them. But I just kind of rather get straight to the point with them. I'm more like business-minded. I'm coming from the corporate world and stuff. So I shared my invites in the group, but my challenge group invite, I actually got the idea from Molly Asplin, did a call once, but I really liked that she said how we related, like how I related to that person. So I can pull it up and read it. I just have it saved in my keyboard so I can just send it very quickly, but I get to know the person a little bit, and it's normally on Instagram these days, and we're already talking about health and fitness. If they followed me, I normally end with asking them if they're into health and fitness too, or what they enjoy. So I only go back and forth like twice, 3 times, depending on the person. And I just say, it seems like we share a lot of the same values, because I am looking for people who are fitness minded. So that's where I'm getting them from my hashtags. So I say we share a lot of the same values. I run these online groups where I focus on personal development, growth, goals. So I make it more of like a whole thing than just health and fitness. And I end by saying, like, I forget exactly what I said, but it's copied in there. But it seems like we share a lot of the same values. Would you like to see what this entails? So I kind of make it more of, we share a lot of the same overall values, not just like I run a health and fitness group, because I do want it to be more about personal development and everything. And then for coaching, it's pretty direct and straightforward as well. We are normally talking about fitness. We're normally talking about what they like to do. So I just say, have you ever considered doing what I do as an online fitness and lifestyle coach? It seems like you'd fit right in with our team. Or I'll give them more of a compliment of like, it seems like this would fit in with your passion for fitness. So that's kind of what I shared in the group, just kind of getting more straightforward and to the point, but showing that we have the same values overall. And I like to be confident with that. And if it's not for them, it's not for them. And I like to be sure that they know that it's a really great opportunity. Like, I'll keep talking about that and say how much it's changed my life, but if it's not for them, that's okay.
No, that's so good. And I appreciate you elaborating. I just read that and I was like, okay, this is really good. And I feel like a large majority of you obviously do that, but I love a majority of you that come on the business side of it, are like, okay, I'm just going to get direct to the point. I feel confident with the business. And there is this perception though, and I do notice it, even as we climb in rank to superstar diamond, it's like, eventually I won't have to invite anymore. And some, yes, some absolutely still invite every single day. I love this. I'm going to kind of call these two out. So I love you. Sorry for calling you out, but my Kate and my Melissa, and I say that because Melissa Brewer, will you just kind of, and I say this because these two started working together a little bit because Kate is obviously coming to Salt Lake City for Super Saturday. And so they started talking, and Melissa frankly said, well, I don't invite. And Kate called her out on her crap. And it was kind of comical because she brought it up to my 3 and 4 star diamonds. And she's like, yeah, I didn't realize I wasn't really doing it until Kate called me out on it. So Melissa, will you tell us a little bit about maybe how she called you out on it and what she, how she went about telling you what to do with
it? Yeah, I would be happy to share my weaknesses with you all. But I honestly, for the longest time, like literally pretty much my entire lifetime as a coach, which is 4.5 years, have very, very, I like how Kate said I bullied her into it. I very, very rarely ever invited, like, sending a message. It was always a call to action. It was always just attraction marketing. It was always people coming to me. And for the first few years of my business, honestly, I'd barely hit Success Club 6 or 10. And I just thought that was normal. Like, I just thought that was how you're supposed to do it. I know, like, Micah, my coach, she always told us to invite, but she didn't do it for a long time either. And that's probably why I was like, well, if she doesn't have to, I don't have to, And I am not as much of a rock star as Micah because she just has always hit what I consider pretty high Success Club points. And then I met Kate, and Kate was like, what? Like, we were talking about like what we're doing and what, like, I just asked her, I'm like, do you honestly send that many invites? She's like, yeah, like every single day. I'm like, no, you don't. She's like, yeah, I really do. And I was like, I'd never invite. And she's like, you're stupid. You need to invite. And I was like, well, okay, so let's talk about this. And she told me, she's like, Melissa, I'll get messages from people who are like, I literally was praying for an answer to this, or I have been looking for something, like I've been trying to figure out this piece of my life. And I said, okay, if someone messages me this week, like, I'm going to do it. And I'll message them and they'll be like, you were an answer to my prayer. And I just thought, gosh, like, I can't imagine like all the people who I'm not listening to. And I don't know what you believe in, but like for me, like, I'm not listening to that calling or to the spirit or that up higher being or whatever you want to call it. I'm not listening to that voice prompting me to invite someone or to be there for someone who needs me or is looking for an answer to their prayer. Because I know when I found coaching, like, I literally, I knew it came into my life for a reason. And I saw that post for a reason, and it was exactly what I needed in that time of my life. And it has answered so many of the prayers that we were praying for as a couple and as a family, and things that we needed in our lives at that time. And it was like a wake-up call for me. And I appreciated Kate's honesty with her being like, you're not doing your job, like, your job is to inspire and to empower people and to be an answer to their prayer. And you're not doing that because you're too afraid of someone making fun of you or judging you or whatever. And I was like, yeah, you're right. And so I freaking went to Walmart and bought a bunch of notebooks. Literally, I've got a stack of them, and I'm like, okay, I'm going to fill these up, with my invites. And I added Kate to my team page. She's been able to like see my logins with my team, and it's changed everything for my whole team and our downline. But it also helped me realize, like, we can't beat around the bush with our team and with the people we're talking to. Like, there's no point in being like, I want to be your friend so that I can then invite you to this. Like, really, your goal as a coach is to help as many people as possible. And so just coming out and saying, like, this is what I love, this is what I do, you are following me, so you must like love and enjoy and appreciate the posts and the stories that I'm doing. Like, do you want to do this with me? And I can't tell you ever since I started how many people are like, I've just been too afraid to come and ask you. Like I really want the details. Not all of them have joined, but at least I know that they're interested and maybe they're thinking about it and eventually they might.
I love that. Sorry, I just know that backstory, so that's why I had to call it out. But it looks like Christine and then Colleen have a question. So I don't know if it's directed towards somebody, but go ahead and unmute yourself and ask away.
Well, now like she changed it a little bit, but okay. My point is I suck at attraction marketing, and I always have. And I openly admit that, even though I try. So I don't have a choice. If I don't invite, I make $0. So I would have to fire myself. But what confuses me, and that's like, sometimes I feel like if I get on one more Zoom, I'm going to put a fork in my eyeball because you have 7,365 ways to do something. Because I loved Meg's call yesterday. I love Meg. I've known her forever, but she was more about the relationship building. Okay. Now we're here talking about the straight up invite. Okay. So then you're like, okay. I'm a straight up person too, because I feel like you said they can see right through it. And sometimes in my invite, I'm like, I know you've been asked 100 times. Like I will make it lighthearted because I'm not stupid, or I have been writing, this ain't my first rodeo, to try to make it a little bit more sincere. So I guess I'm asking everybody, and I don't know if somebody wants to chime in, like how, I don't even know how to ask this. Like, do you just go with your gut and just do what works for you instead of being like, having like 17 pages of notes and trying all of them? Like, does that question make sense?
Yeah, I want to answer that because when I started in December, it was like the whole send a hey girl, follow up 2 weeks later with an invite, like track all this stuff. And I was like, this is BS. Like, I think about it as like, how would I want to be invited? Like if someone sent me a message, would I want it to be, oh, hey girl, like I love your dogs. What kind are they? And then I go to their page and see that they're a health and fitness coach. And I'm like, they just want to know about my dogs to sell me something, block. That's my perspective, because that's how, like, if someone were to approach me, like I think about how I would want to be approached. So like for me, my coach invited me and she was straight up like, thanks for the love and support on my page. Are you interested in my accountability group? And I was like, yeah, like I am. And so like, I would rather someone just come to me and say, and like, tell me what they like want from me instead of like it feeling yuck and gross. Like for me, if I were to go comment on 3 pictures, like 5, like whatever the thing is, like it would feel like fake and forced to me versus just building a relationship through stories, building a relationship through posts on my social media. Like I feel like if you utilize what you have in your Instagram or in your Facebook and you can build those relationships in your storefront versus behind the scenes, you can reach more people. And like Melissa said, like I've had multiple people say like, I told myself, I have screenshots of these, like I told myself that if you messaged me this week, I would sign up. And like, if I would have never sent my invites, would have never messaged her and she would have never signed up. And so I just always like, I know there's just so many different ways to do things. And I don't necessarily, it's like, do what works for you. I think it's like, do what you would want to be done to you. Like, how would you want to get a message? How would you want like to receive someone's energy? And when you can nail down like that, then you're finding your tribe. Because if like you're inviting that way, you're going to be very polarized. Like you're going to like get rid of the people that don't want to be invited that way, or you're going to attract the people that do want to be invited that way. And that's when you're finding your tribe. So that's like my perspective on it. And that's why I'm very like, my invite's very short to the point. I send 62 invites a day. Like, and I'm also the same way. I have a good feed. I love my stories, but if I don't invite, I don't hit the numbers that I want to hit. Like it just doesn't happen. And I tried it, Brittany, and I did an experiment in July where I was like, I'm not going to invite. And I hit like Success Club 20, like without inviting, but like that's not my numbers. Like my numbers have always been like 60 to 100. And so I was like, this is unacceptable. And so I like told her, I was like, I'm going to be at 60 by the end of the week. And it was like 5 days till the end. And I sent my invites and I got to 56. So it's like, I can't, like people are waiting for me to invite them that are following me. And it's because I think I attract those types of people. So that's my perspective.
Can I jump in really quick? I pretty much would say the same. I don't I don't do like a lot of like, hey, how, your dog, your shoes, whatever. Except I do conversations like that to gain followers. Like, if I'm trying to get new people to follow me and I just follow their account, they're not necessarily going to see me or talk to me or whatever. So I do try to make a lot of comments on their posts and, maybe send out messages and, but sincere things. Like if they have a kid the same age as mine, might be like, oh, like I noticed your daughter is the same as mine. Like what kind of foods are you feeding her or whatever? Something I would actually want to know even as a person and not as a business person. And then I'm doing that a lot. I'm commenting on other people's stories and things to get them to follow me back, but not to lead into an invite. Because like you said, it's like if they start following me, they're going to see my posts, they're going to see my stories. And if it's obvious they're watching, then they already know what I do. And so I'm going to go ahead and just invite them. But I do those conversation pieces and the questions to gain followers. So I don't know if that helps, but.
Absolutely.
I have a question. Just because, so like and Brittany, you and I have talked about this before too, but I do have a lot of people that follow my stuff. So I do similar stuff to you guys where it feels like they already kind of know me because they're following our stories, right? They're watching our posts, things like that. And I saw, I think Colleen asked the same question, but my entire downline does not have the same luxury that I have of thousands of followers and like, 1,200 people a day that watch my stories that I can reach out to constantly. So like, do you guys have any tips for people who don't have a ton of followers? Do we think, because I've been trying to figure this out with my downline, do they need to focus on creating a account that will gain a ton of followers, or can they go out and like how do they create relationships with people without doing that annoying I like your shoes, I like your dog, tell me more information about your life, and doing the whole relationship thing, right? Because I feel like cold invites only work for us maybe because we already are looking at us, right? I think
I'm going to talk again.
Talk.
Because inviting is like, I feel like this is literally what I talk about all the time, and I'm like really passionate about it, and I don't know why, but I am. I started with an account that only had 700 followers. So like in December, I had 700 followers, and I started out probably sending like 20 to 30 invites a day. And I did go into like my warm market on Facebook. Like I hit diamond pretty much with my warm market. And then I like went away from warm market because I'm like scared of them, but that's another story. But I started growing my following from day one by using Captivate. And it's just an iPhone app. It's just a way to like mass follow people in your tribe. They don't have it for Droid, which kind of sucks, but you're able to just go to a page that you follow and like, and then go follow their followers. And you can turn it on night mode and it'll follow one person every 60 seconds while you sleep. So like, that's literally how I built my following from like 700 or 800 to 5,000 from December to May. And so like when I invite, like now I have like 11K, but when I invite, I don't just invite from like my likes or people watching my stories, because a lot of them are coaches. Like a lot of the people that like my posts are coaches or are like already my challengers. But people watching my stories, I get a lot of people from my stories, but like I run out of people. Like, so I go to my followers and I will message the people that are following me, because that not only like plants the seed, but it also helps with the Instagram algorithm because it sees that you're being social. So it'll actually push your stuff to the front of their feed. So then they will start to get more views on stories. They will start to like show up more on the explore page and stuff like that because they're being more social and they're like talking to more people. So like, I don't think they should just focus on like building a social media following. I think they need to like kind of balance both. Like obviously they can't send like 60 invites a day when they have like 300 followers. You're going to run out of people too much. So sending like at least 10 to 20 invites 5 days a week or something, but then using Captivate or using something to build your following. I think is what I usually tell my girls. And yeah, that's like pretty much what I like my advice with that. Not like focusing solely on one thing, but like kind of balancing both, because you have to still send invites.
Kate, can I ask, for when you were newer building, I think you like started to dive into when you were just answering that, but so was it a conversation and then an invite, or did you just go straight for the invite when you were newer with the smaller?
I've always gone straight for the invite. Like I like did a week of like, hey girl messages, and it just felt like really yucky to me. Like it just didn't feel good to me. So like I'll go back and see my invites from like December, and they're way longer than what I said now, but it's a straight invite like, hey girl, thanks for following my health and fitness journey. Oh my gosh, I'm starting this new program, blah, blah, blah. Like it's so long, and I'm like, oh my God, I would never send that now. But it's a straight up invite. And I started that I think it just comes down to like teaching your team and like having the mindset of like what we have as a gift. And if you truly, truly believe that, then you'll tell as many people as you can. And so like, that's just always been my mindset around it. And like, sure, I get a ton of no's. Like I'll send 62 invites and only like 7 people respond, and like maybe 1 person says yes, but like that's 61 seeds planted and like 61 people that are come back around. So I've always just done straight up invites, except for that like week when I started and was like, I don't like these.
Yeah, I guess it's just hard to know, like I don't remember what her name was, but Christine Carroll just came on here and she's like, yesterday we were told on a national wake up call to do 3 to 5 quality invites. And then there's rock stars like you that do like 62 a day. And it's just like, I grew 5 years ago, and it breaks my heart. I feel so confused on what to tell my coaches how to grow now. And so I don't know if other people feel like that, but like I have the girls that are willing to put in the time and the effort like you are, but they're not getting the same results. And then my heart breaks for them.
I would like to share
Yeah, go ahead.
something that really it works for me, and I'm trying to get my team to do it, but in she mentioned it on the wake up call, but the way I do it, like it's finding for me what really works, and I've done both ways, and I think both ways work. Okay, reaching out to the numbers can work, and reaching out to 3 to 5 a day really quality can work too. It's going to be what resonates with you the most, and it's going to be what resonates with your team the most. So some of them are going to do better with that's what I think, but what really, really works for me is finding a picture of theirs and direct messaging them with it, and talking about something directly related to the picture. And it can even be, the invite can even be in that post, like saying, look, we have so much in common already, and I just want it, but it's sending something of them that everyone wants to be seen, right? So just letting them know, hey, I see you. And I also do hey, my out is always, I would much rather ask than assume and have you miss out. So that's my thing. And I totally understand the confusion, because I know my team feels it. And sometimes I have in the past, but what I've realized is both ways work. Like you can reach out to 100 people a day and see success, and you can reach out to 3 to 5 a day and see success. We're seeing that in these top coaches. So you need to take what resonates with you and quit second guessing yourself and just get in your lane and go for it. That's my advice.
So I think we all want to talk. In addition to what everyone's saying, I actually just had this conversation with several of my coaches yesterday, because it is confusing, right? There's so many different things thrown at you. Every week there's a new training rolled out. This coach is doing that. Then we have rock stars like Kate that come in and drop all this knowledge in the champions page, and people are overwhelmed. And so the advice that I've given to my new people that are just going for it, and they're seeing wins in their first week, which is what Brittany and I really talked about and what I'm focused on, is that, like, why are you doing this? What made you start doing this? That's what you go and talk to people about. Because for me, like, like 5 years, it gets overwhelming, and you're like, well, 4 or 5 years ago, this worked for me, but things have to be different now. And so I'm just like telling my girls to like go and talk about what works for them, and not the fluffy, like be very direct, like Kate was saying, like skip all of that, because people are going to join you because there's 30,000 other people who are going to send the same message if you don't. And so really my message to my team, and I think is working with my new coaches, is just go and be fearless and like share why you started and like the results that you've seen. So it's just kind of like the cause and effect and being very, very direct.
This is also, I want to add to that because I think that's like exactly right. You guys, honestly, it's just about being consistent. It's not about like jumping from one thing to another thing to trying another thing to doing this, to doing that, to like you're never going to get anywhere if you're constantly starting over. Like you have to choose one way, put your blinders on, go do it, and stay consistent for 5 years. Like honestly, it's just doing the things every single day that are going to move your business forward, regardless of if it's attraction marketing or inviting every day or whatever your jam is. Like you find your jam, you find what works for you, and if you do it over and over again, it's going to work. Like, but we have these people, and I always tell my team that because they're always like, well, this is different and that's different. I'm like, yeah, look at the top 10. Not one person on that list is the exact same, and they probably don't all send invites, and they probably don't all use the same power hour tracker. And like, you just have to do what works for you and stick to it. Like, don't try and be someone else. Don't, if you have to make up your own, like even better, find what works for you, something you can be consistent in, and just do it. Like, do your crap. Yeah, like Micah says, like literally you just have to do it and stop looking at everyone else and be like, well, what are they doing? Like, they're successful. What are they doing? They're successful. You're going to be successful if you just do the work. I don't know. I just feel like we talk so much about like, well, I need to do what this person's doing and I need to be number one. And like, for me, I don't care about what my rank is. I could seriously care less. All I care about is that I'm talking to as many people as possible. I'm helping as many people as possible. I'm helping my coaches get home from their jobs. Like, that's all I care about. And honestly, I've never once tracked points for elite. And I'll probably get a lot of people like wanting to shoot my brains out because it's so annoying, because I know so many people are like numbers driven and that's what they focus on. Not once have I ever tracked for elite, and we've hit it in the last 3 years, like super easy. But it's because we're doing all of the things that get you to elite without focusing on like, oh, I have to be elite. Like I have to get there. If you help your team, if you're helping them help people, if they're growing their teams and they're helping people help people, like it's just about helping everyone live the best life that they can live and focusing on that instead of focusing on how can I be number one? Like if that's your goal, fine, that's different. Like if your goal is to be in the top 10, like that's not my goal and it never has been. My goal was to leave my full-time job and be home with my kids. And now my goal is to help literally every coach on my team do that exact same thing. So we're driven in that direction. And by helping them do that, they're hitting big numbers. Their teams are hitting big numbers, which is getting us those elite points, I guess. I don't even know how it works, honestly. And that's how it happens. It happens naturally when you're doing the work.
I have a question for Kate again. So when you're onboarding your new coaches and you're like, okay, like let's start building your social media. I have like a self-paced like social media course that like talks to them about branding, talks to them about hashtags, talks to them about setting up their link tree, like all the basic stuff. But do you send them like sign up for Captivate? Here's how, and like send them a YouTube like tutorial about it? Because I feel like I used Instagress for maybe like 4 months when I first became a coach, but like that's gotten shut down since then. And I remember it being like so overwhelming, like trying to figure it out. So do you tell them to like use it right off the bat?
No, but I'm going to now. I've done 2 team calls, about one like strictly about Captivate and Cleaner, which is like what I used to grow my following before I outsourced. And then I've done like another just like Instagram training, like my top Instagram tips, since I work my business like straight from Instagram. And if they have questions like how to build their following and like they start to ask me about it, I'll send them the team call. But I should probably put that in my training.
Can you share the team call recording?
Yeah, I can share both of them.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
I have another question for you guys. Kind of back to the original question about talking about inviting, because I know now we're talking about our teams and helping our teams, but now let's go back to inviting for ourselves. So I actually have really good success with invites. I have so much fun doing them. I love them. And I get people signed up. but I really struggle with the person's like, oh yeah, this is cool. And then they like sign up and they work out and whatever, but I feel like because they didn't have a need, like, oh my God, I need to join your team, Colleen, that they're not taking the steps. Then like I'm missing something clearly. And this used to be something that I was a rock star at, and then it's been something I clearly suck at now. So I guess just like I'm finding these rad people and inviting them, and then they're like, yeah, and then nothing happens. So I don't know if you guys feel like that at all. Obviously, like I'm missing something. No one else feels like that, I guess.
I mean, I feel like if you feel like that, then maybe your approach needs to be asking them like why, like what their health and fitness goals are. Like maybe if you're in that hole, maybe like your invite just needs to throw in like, hey, here's my invite. They say, yeah, I want more info. You're like, okay, great. Can I get a little more information about what your current like health and fitness routine is and what your goals are, so I know like what options we have for you or something. Like if you feel like there's that gap, then maybe talking about that. Maybe you're
I mean about coaching, like not challenge groups, about like inviting people to join my team.
Oh, I don't do coaching invites, so I'm gonna be honest.
That's my passion, like challenge groups. Like I get people in there and it's cool and it's awesome, but my passion is definitely paying the business forward. So I look for people in that way, and that used to be my strength. And then whatever happened in this little shift, I'm still trying to work my way through that. So it's okay if I'm on an island by myself.
You're not on an island.
I don't think you're on an island.
I am.
I don't think you're on an island at all. I think it's definitely, for me, like, I was just thinking about this the other day. Like, I used to have months where I'd have like 11 new coaches every single month, which for me was like a lot. And now I'm down to like 4 to 2 or 1 sometimes. And I think it's just, I don't know. I went back to just the good old sneak peeks, not the big, huge team-wide ones, just the ones that I do where I can have that one-on-one conversation. And I really am just seeing like who has that potential, because I think I'm just being more intentional about who I bring onto my team. And I don't know if it's being a little bit more guarded because we poured so long for so many people and then they left. I don't know what it is, but don't think you're alone, because I know that there's leaders on this call who I've had that very conversation who feel like, I don't know what to do and what changed. So I just appreciate conversation and like learning from people who don't have that struggle. I would say one thing is like really watching my words and making sure I'm not projecting that out there, because I'm a firm believer that if that's the way that I'm going into a conversation or feeling about my business, that's what I'm going to attract, that people aren't going to join. And so I've kind of shifted that over the past couple of months, and I'm starting to see changes. Maybe it's just my confidence level rising again. I don't know. But don't feel alone, because I know you're not.
Can I say something? I don't know. Can you hear me? I started this book from Phil M. Jones, Exactly What to Say. And it talks about the language we use when we are inviting. And it's something that I think leaders that have been around for a long time are struggling with. I feel the same way you do, Colleen. And I think a lot's belief after all the shift in the business, and people left in 2016, people that I were super close to, and they let me down. You know, the rejection just kind of sucked, and I've been, like Melissa said, very guarded about who I invite. And there's a belief in myself, but then I also feel like there's not a lot of belief in myself that I can get people to come and stay. And so I started listening to this book, and I encourage everybody to listen to it, because it's kind of rejection proof inviting, and it's about, you know, words. And that's one thing that Melissa and I've talked about in the past, of like tentative language, that basically sometimes we lead with words that just give people the opportunity to say no to us. And there's, you know, the power of language, and there's some key words and phrases that he talks about using to lead with presenting whatever opportunity it is. And so I'm going to start using that in reformulating my invitations, because I've gotten away from invitations because I don't like the hey girl, because that just doesn't work for me. So anyways, I don't know if that will help, but it's a good book. It's Exactly What to Say by Phil Jones.
Can I say something? This is Kiana. Hello? I don't know if anyone can hear me. Hello?
I can hear you.
Okay, I'm so sorry. I'm driving. So, you know, I don't have a huge following on Instagram. In fact, it's like my first year I've really been trying to build it. And so I don't know I think it was Alyssa that started talking earlier. I just wanted to kind of speak to you for a second. I only have about less than 200 people watching my stories. And I can't say I've gotten like all these successful points from Instagram because that's not the truth. But I do feel a shift happening with the people that are watching my stories being newer people. And so I just reach out to the 10 or 15 new people each day that are watching it. And I make sure I really connect with them and I get them on a hot list. And I understand what Colleen was saying, but I'm just saying, and what everyone else is saying. And I know that like you have to find what way works for you. And I honestly wish I was that person that could just like message someone and be like, hey girl, you gonna join my team or what? I'm a badass. I feel like I'm a badass sometimes, but I cannot get the wording right and I feel like a fraud. I'm just gonna be honest with you. So for me, I have to have those connections before. So but I've learned to jump faster into the invite. I used to spend all this time building these relationships to just find out they were already coaching, but never even looked like they were a coach on Instagram or all these different things. So what I've done is I just make a really good, solid connection. I call it I just like to message them or comment on something. And then I feel like, oh, okay, I've commented on something. I've messaged them. They're watching my stories now. Now I can invite. And I don't know if that helps, but I'm just saying it's been something that I had to get over my fear because I don't like it when I feel sold to. And so when I get messages that say, hey girl, like I just got 5 messages yesterday that were like, hey, it looks like you're in health and fitness. I'm starting my own accountability group. Do you want to join me? And I know that's not what most of us are saying, but annoyed that they didn't even look at my feed to know I'm a coach. You know what I mean? And so for me, it's just been really looking at the new people that are watching my stories, making those connections, finding 1 or 2 things. But going faster into the invite is where the magic has happened for me because I used to feel like I had to build. I think there's a very distinct different type of people. There's people that go right into the invite because they're very business minded. And then there's people that feel like they have to build this relationship. So one of the things that I have noticed is that if they're watching my stories, that gives me credibility. They like my stuff. And so I look at my stories and I think I'm doing a pretty decent job. And so I have to give myself that much credit. And so I've been jumping into the invite faster. And I've been either getting a quicker no or a quicker yes, but it's helped the invite process and it's helped me be a little bit more brave because I am that emotional person that needs that connection. But a lot of them are super positive. Like a lot of them are like, oh, I've been watching your stories for a super long time. And so anyhow, I just wanted to share my perspective that I don't have a big following at all. I've just started working Instagram. I'm a very much a Facebook person and I've been able to make really a lot of connections. And don't laugh at me guys, but I got my first 2 sales from Instagram. My first 2 customers just last month. No freaking joke. Okay, I'm done.
I want to say like what I gathered from that, and this is something I always talk. My coaches will say stuff like that to me, like I feel like such a fraud, or I feel like I'm trying to just sell something, and I said, then you're doing it wrong, you know. And that's what I feel like you recognize about yourself. You're like, I don't feel comfortable saying these things, so I changed it, and that's how it should be done, you know. And if ever I have a coach who's like, gosh, like that doesn't feel natural to me, then I tell them, don't do that. You have to just basically talk to people like they're your best friend, like someone that you want to make a significant impact on. And when you do that, it comes from your heart. Like you're really truly coming from a place of love and concern and wanting to change their life, you know. But like Kiana's, or I think it was Kiana who was just talking, like Kiana said, like she didn't feel that natural conversation happening, so she changed and made that happen. I think that's really where it comes down to. If you feel like you're not doing it the way you would naturally do it, then you just need to change the way you're talking to people.
I'd love to say something. So this year I've made the switch to Instagram and I finally got my following up, and Instagram was one of those things where, y'all, I hated it. I just felt like it was not my thing. I was total Facebook person. I did the stories, but like it just did not feel fun for me. But now it does because I do invite primarily to the business. I do reach out to people who are watching my stories, who like my posts, the whole 9 yards, but I get very direct to the invite. And my goal is to always connect with them on a Zoom call and get video to video with them face to face. And I feel like if I can get somebody on a Zoom call, they're very qualified. And our conversation is very rich because they'll share their story with me. We'll connect on a deeper level. And so I remember the first time I did the Zoom call, coach prospect call, if you will, I was nervous as heck, just totally sweating out everything. But now, you guys, it's like my favorite thing to do is to like book out my calendars with this Zoom call. And I just love meeting the people that way. So I really feel like, especially in social media, we're missing that genuine connection. And I just felt like messages weren't necessarily cutting it anymore for me. So I'm encouraging my coaches, instead of sneak peeks, and I don't know how scalable this will be, we're still very small, but instead of sneak peeks, I'm teaching them how to get on a Zoom call and interview someone and build a relationship face to face. So the interesting thing is, like, the coaches that I've recruited from Instagram with this process of getting on a Zoom call, y'all, they're booking their own calls. I don't even have to like teach them because they lived it and they duplicate it naturally because that's what they know. So it's helping them feel brave just from the very beginning. That has been a game changer. And so I'm just really super excited to see what's going to happen in the months to come as more of these coaches onboard this way and start to duplicate the process. So anyway, that's what we're doing.
Hey guys, I want to share real quick. So my first couple of years in coaching, I could put up a call to action and hit like Success Club 30 to 50. And I think things have changed so much over the years. And I think that what we have to teach our coaches has changed. And I also feel like we almost have to give our coaches like individualized, maybe like power hours, or maybe individualized invitation training, because our page one is so different for each coach. So some of us have social media experience and some of us don't. Some of us have 300 people on our Facebook page and some of us have 5,000. So I feel like for each person, it has to be a little bit different, and everybody comes in at a different comfort level. And I know that for sure with my team. So I kind of have to interview them and figure out what's going to work for them, because some of them have like this amazing warm market where their first month they're going to hit like Success Club 10 just with their family. And I have other coaches whose family does not support them at all and will make like negative comments on their page and things like that. So this year I've really focused on getting to know my coaches better and kind of figuring out what is going to work for each one of them. And I've had a much higher success rate with them being successful, like kind of just making a plan with each one of them. So I just want to say that, because some of my coaches are willing to send out 60 invites a day, and that's in their comfort zone. But I have a lot of moms that work 50 hours a week, and they can't do that, or that would paralyze them and they would do nothing. So with those women, I encourage them to send out 5 invites a day, and I lead power hours every night with my working moms to help them get it done, just those 5 invites. So I guess my point is I feel like we all have to do what's best for each coach, and we can't just say, okay, our team is going to do 60 invites every night because that's what our team does, or we're going to send out 5 invites because that's what our team does. I feel like it has to be depending on the person and things like that. I mean, of course you can have like a rule of thumb, but I feel like it has to be per coach and depending on where they're at with their social media. And some coaches need to just focus more on growing their social media because they don't even have enough people to invite yet. So with those coaches, I'm like, okay, you have 150
friends right now. So we're going to have to focus first on, sending out those 25 friend invites, and do those 5 challenge group invites before we could ever start, sending out 65 invites a day. What did you ask, Christine? I'm sorry.
You say you do live power hour every single night?
I put up a power hour every night, like things for my coaches to concentrate on that I feel like they're getting behind on, like a list. It takes me about 2 minutes to come up with the list, and I post it. And it helps my coaches that are paralyzed and can't think of a thing to do because they're like stuck. And I just say, okay, post below when you're done. And they usually text me that day and they're like, oh my gosh, I, have done nothing today. Please help me. I'm so stuck. And I'm like, okay, we'll do the power hour tonight. You can get it done in 20 minutes if you just concentrate. And so that just helps them stay motivated, especially for my working moms, that feel like they're trapped. And to be honest, most of the working moms are my top coaches. So I need to keep them on track.
We have time for maybe 2 more on inviting. So if you will go ahead and let us know. I mean, this is a great conversation, and I love even more that I've talked like 2 minutes. So that makes me happy. So who else? Inviting. Lauren Fitzgerald, calling you out. Anything you want to share?
I knew you were going to call me that for whatever reason. So what I do, and I went into my team page and actually showed them, and I shared a screen on Zoom and showed them exactly what I did. So I go into groups because I keep all of my groups. So I have a ton of groups. I will go in and literally go to the members and go in alphabetical order, and I will audio message them and say, hey sister, I'm messaging you because you are a member of the, Facebook group, whatever, Club Fits Fitness members. And I wanted to invite you to my next group. It's called 30-Day High Fat, Low Carb, whatever. And literally just go through. So I'm able to go through multiple invites really fast. I believe in numbers, and exactly what I think Melissa was saying, like it's as many people that come back and say, oh my gosh, I've been lurking, I've been too scared to ask, like how dare of me to not, put my own self aside to ask them.
You know what I think, like waiting for people to like invite themselves to your group is like, it's like throwing a big party and they didn't get an invitation, but you're expecting them to show up anyway. So that's what I tell my team. It's like, how brave do you think a person is to invite themselves to what you're doing? That's just ridiculous.
Yeah, I went back and because I used to I cringe when I say this, but I used to say that inviting isn't the most important thing, personal development is. But I have since said I was wrong, because at the end of the day, you don't have a business if you're not inviting, and you just have to get over your damn self. And the more you do it, the easier it is to do those invitations. And you never know who's waiting for you to invite. So that's what I did. That's how I hit, I think, SC 166 last month, because I was just literally hitting all of the people in my groups.
Mind blown.
Yeah. Damn.
Kate's like, oh crap. Now
I need to send like 90 invites today.
I think it's a reminder you get married next week. So slow your little roll and breathe.
But that's why I need to send as many as possible, because I won't be working that much next week. So that is the ticket. But I just want to like piggyback off that, because y'all, I would have never sent my coach an invite, or I would have never sent my coach a message like asking to do what she's doing. Like, I'm not that type of person. I'm the one that's creeping. I would never fill out a link in a bio. I would never vote on a poll. I would never comment. Like, I didn't even follow my coach. Like, I liked her picture from the Explore page, and that was it. And she sent me an invite. Like, if I need to invite all these people every day to find another me, like, I'm going to do that, because I'm the type of person that would have never, like, I just wouldn't have reached out. Like, I wouldn't have invited myself to the party. Like, exactly what Joy said. Like, it just wouldn't have happened. And so that just goes back to the, like, you got to do, like, how you would want to push, or how you would want to find out about the opportunity.
Lauren, I'm glad I called you out, because you just opened up a big opportunity for them to invite to. This is good. I will say this is probably my favorite call. And I know we've had some great speakers, but I love this. I love the collaboration. Is there anything else? Lauren, did you want to say anything else, hon?
Nope. I was just going to say, I'm glad to help. This group has been amazing. You women are just incredible ladies. So I've learned so much from every single one of you.
Awesome possum. Okay, so freaking true. The good conversation too on the side. You guys kept me entertained and put tons of great content over there as well. Real quick, Lauren, you have one last question. What do you do to help your coaches invite who don't have a page with a ton of followers?
So I'm telling them, because, both Instagram and Facebook. So I tell them to start with the people that are watching their Insta stories or their stories on Facebook, and literally because those are the people that are lurking, that are watching you, that care enough to like your stuff. So I'm telling them to go and literally go straight to the invite. I don't do the BS, like getting to know you, what kind of dog you have. Like, do you want me to help you or not? And here's my invitation. And I'm probably going to circle back around in a month or two to invite you again. And I tell the coaches to get over the fact, like, I don't want to bother them. Oh, thanks, Christy. I appreciate the hair comment. But like, get over I don't want to be a bothersome. It's like, no. For every 9 people that you're bothering, that one person that needed you to ask that day is worth all of those people that you bothered. And I promise you, you're not bothering them. They'll ghost you, but at the end of the day, you'll probably message them again. And before you know it, they're waiting for all of us to quit. Once you get that in your mind and realize, like, look, a no right now is not a no next week or next month or next year. And it never ceases. I mean, I've been coaching now for almost 3 years. And it never ceases to amaze me how many seeds I planted in my first year that people are coming back around, because they were all waiting for me to quit Beachbody, because I had a huge YouTube channel and was, big in the dance fitness world. They were waiting for me to quit, and they realized, like, oh, she's actually in this for the right reason. So, okay, I've been waiting for you to ask. Okay, I'm ready. So it's just, start with the people that are following you, watching your stories, liking your posts, commenting. Like, that is gold right there. Those are the people that you go directly to and you ask, hey, I'm about to coach this next group. I would love to have you in it. You want to be a part of this? And just cut the bullshit out.
We will drop the mic on that one, because I like that. There's something about swearing that just makes me giggle. Thank you. Thank you for being so real and so raw. And I think the whole little thing here is you got to find what works for you, obviously, but where you coaches are at, I think it's your permission to cut the bullcrap and get to the point, and I agree. If somebody was like, hey girl, like, oh my gosh, she just got engaged, congrats, I'd be like, cool, thanks. Who are you? Like, what do you want? Like, instantly in my mind, I was like, what do you want? And I'd rather than be like, you know what? Get right down to it. I'd be like, oh, that's sweet, my shoulder today. Okay. Well, if you could be on Lauren or on Kiana's shoulder today, Lauren, that'd be great. No, this is really good. So obviously I will post the replay very, very soon. If you did not get a chance to speak and you would like to talk more about inviting, go to our 5-day Start Diamond Mastermind group, please. And yesterday's post was all about inviting. Share there. I would love for it to be a resource that you go back to. So share, obviously we talked a lot about the National Wake Up Call, but go with your best practices, what you do. And I promise you, because something's going to work for some of your coaches and some of it's not, but you can go pick from this big post and really pull the ideas that are going to work best. Thank you so much. We have one call left next week with Miss Julie Boris. So be on time. And then Q3 is over, which is just bat crap crazy to me. Crazy. So anyways, thank you so much for your kind words also on my engagement. It was so fun. Here's my ring. I know y'all wanted to see it. There's my ring. Okay. I get so, anyways. Yeah, no, you're welcome. Thank you. Okay. I'll talk to y'all soon. Bye, ladies.